Hi, welcome to Sage Business Cloud Accounting Software video tutorials. In this video, we will discuss about Supplier Masterfiles. Information that you enter that does not change often is called static information. When you enter details for a supplier, that information is called a Masterfile record. There are two types of supplier master files that you can create. List of suppliers, supplier categories. Supplier categories. You are able to create categories for your supplier accounts in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. You can use these categories to sort your suppliers. For example, you may want to sort your suppliers as local or national, or by product ranges. Supplier categories mainly used for reporting. Go to Suppliers, Reports, Purchases by Supplier. You can select Supplier category and generate the report. To add a new category, click on the Add Category button and then enter the name for the new category. You can view list of supplier categories. You can sort supplier categories by ascending or descending order by clicking on the heading. You do not have to use supplier categories and you can start or stop using them at any time. However, you cannot delete a supplier category that has a supplier account linked to it. Adding supplier accounts. You purchase the items that you resell or use in your products from your suppliers. To create or maintain your supplier accounts, click on Suppliers, List of suppliers. The screen below will display. To create a new supplier account, click on the Add Supplier button and the screen below will display. Or you can create a new supplier from Supplier, Add a Supplier. This is where you will enter the master file information for your suppliers. If you want to create a new supplier account, click on the Add Supplier screen. Here you will enter the master file information for the supplier account. You can create a supplier by entering supplier name and save. It's better to enter supplier information if available. For explanation purposes, I'll open an already created supplier. In the top section of the screen, you will enter the supplier name, supplier category, opening balance, credit limit, and tax reference of your supplier. When you exceed your supplier credit limit, system will pop up a message. Now, this supplier credit limit is 150,000. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier invoices, add supplier invoice, select supplier, your credit limit will be exceeded. Activate your supplier by checking the active checkbox. This will ensure that you will be able to process transactions for the supplier. Opening balance. If you are implementing the system for an old company, you can enter the opening balance if available. You are able to add the opening balance at a later stage by selecting the Adjust Opening Balance option from the supplier menu. You can create supplier category when creating supplier. Auto allocate payments to oldest invoice. The auto allocate payments to oldest invoice checkbox is automatically checked when creating a new supplier payment. Examples: go to suppliers, transactions, supplier payments, add supplier payment, select the supplier, enter payment amount, you can see system automatically allocate the payment amount to oldest invoices. There are 11 tabs on the screen, 6 of which you can edit and 5 of which accounting will complete for you. Details, activity, additional contacts, banking details, notes, user-defined fields, personal information, purchases graph, purchase orders, unpaid invoices, report layouts. Details tab. You will enter the supplier's postal address, physical address, contact name, email, telephone, mobile and fax numbers, and web address on the Contact Details tab. You can enter supplier's business registration number. This screen also contains some special features regarding the physical address, email, telephone, mobile number and web address. As you can see, these options are displayed in blue underlined text, which make them active links. The map button on the physical address will direct you to Google Maps, which will pinpoint the supplier's location. Addresses entered should be in uniquely identifiable format, containing as much information as possible in order to find the location and coordinates. The Copy from Postal Address button will automatically copy postal address into the delivery address box. You will use this option when the supplier's postal address and delivery address is the same. The Email button will instantly create an email using the email address entered in this field. If you use Skype and want to make a Skype call, click the telephone or mobile links on the Supplier edit screen and a Skype call will be started. The web address button will direct you to the supplier's website. Default settings. Sage Business Cloud Accounting allows you to allocate a default discount to the supplier master file. You can enter the discount percentage in the default discount field, and this will pull through to the processing documents. Example, go to Suppliers, Transactions, Supplier Invoices, click Add a Supplier Invoice, select your supplier. You can view the default discount. Users can also set a default VAT type which will apply when transaction. Supplier defaults will override item and account defaults. You can also set a default due date for the supplier documents. For example, you must pay your supplier 30 days from the date of invoice. The Activity tab. In the Activity tab, account will display the supplier adjustments, supplier opening balance, supplier invoices, supplier returns, supplier payments including discount, and balance. You can drill down to the documents making up the balance by clicking on the detail link. Click on the detail link to view a detailed activity sheet of the supplier invoices. The Additional Contacts tab. To record details for any other contacts that you may have at your supplier, you will use the Additional Contacts tab. You would use this tab if you have more than one contact at your supplier. For example, you may use the Address and Contact Details tab for the Managing Director of the company, and then record details of the sales rep and account clerks in the Additional Contacts tab. You can add lines by clicking this plus mark. The Banking Details tab. In Banking Details tab, you can enter supplier banking details, account holder, account number, bank name, branch code, account type. The main user will have to give the other users access to view or edit this feature. Go to Administration, Control User Access, select the user, click on Permissions, select Suppliers, click on Add Edit Supplier Banking Details. Tick View Supplier Banking Details. The Notes tab. In the Notes tab, you will create and store any notes regarding the supplier. For example, if the supplier has a special running for a particular period of time, or if you must collect stock on a specific date, you would create a note with the details. Notes appear in the company dashboard until they have been marked as complete. Go to Home, Dashboard, under To-Do List, Overdue Supplier Notes, You can also add attachments by clicking the File button. Individual files may not exceed 2 MB in size. A maximum of 5 attachments per note or transactions can be added. User-defined fields tab. If you have set up user-defined fields in the company settings, you will enter the relevant information in this tab. You can change these label names from company, change company settings, user-defined fields, supplier. Personal information. You can enter protection of personal information. This personal information due to Data Protection Act. If you want, you can extend removal date. Purchases graph. Once you have processed purchases from your supplier, accounting will display a graph of the annual values per month in the Purchases Graph tab. If you would like to see more details, you can click on one of the bars in the chart of a graph showing the daily purchases. You can then drill down to the transactions by clicking on one of the bars representing a day. Click on the Show Settings link to change the display of the transaction types and the financial categories. The Purchase Orders tab. If you have processed any purchase orders, they will display in the Purchase Orders tab. You are able to open the purchase order from this tab by clicking on Edit on each purchase order shown. Unpaid Invoices tab. Any unpaid supplier invoices are listed under the Unpaid Invoices tab. You have the option of selecting of range of invoices by checking the checkboxes next to each invoice and select to either reprint or email them by clicking on the Print Invoices or Email Invoices button. The Report Layouts tab. You can select the report layouts for a supplier in the Report Layouts tab. Editing supplier accounts. Like anyone, suppliers do change their details for various reasons. Examples are moving to new premises, new management personnel that are appointed, telephone numbers that change, new or added web addresses or email addresses. In order to keep your company records up to date, you will be required to update these changes to suppliers in your company database. Click on Suppliers, List of suppliers. To edit a supplier, click on the Actions, select the Edit option, or you can click on the blue supplier name link. You can change details if you required. Other bulk actions. Sage Business Cloud Accounting allows you to update supplier master files in bulk without having to edit one supplier at a time. However, you cannot change address information. Select Suppliers, select Update. You can change supplier category. Select the category. You can view category here. Now it has changed to Visa. Like that, you can change following fields: auto allocate, discount percentage, default VAT type, purchase order layout, invoice layout, return layout, statement layout. Mark as active inactive. You can also set suppliers as active or inactive in bulk. Check all the suppliers that you want to update and click on the Mark as active inactive button. Now these three customers active. If you want to change active inactive in bulk, you can select this Mark as active inactive, untick this option and save. Now these three suppliers inactivated. If you want to active again, you can select those suppliers and select Mark as active, tick, save. Deleting supplier accounts. If you have captured the incorrect supplier information and want to delete the supplier account, you can do so in the List of Suppliers screen. Click on the Suppliers, List of Suppliers. To delete a supplier, click on the Actions option. select delete option, or tick on that supplier and click delete. You cannot delete a supplier account with transaction allocated to it. You can customize supplier list grid. You can add or remove fields by clicking Customize Grid button. Tick on required columns, untick if you want to remove any column. You can sort columns by clicking the column heading. You can sort ascending or descending order. Search option. If you want to search any supplier, you can type and search. Multi-column sorting. You can sort supplier list by multi-columns. Filters. You can filter supplier by purchases. If you have foreign suppliers, foreign supplier balance and credit limit will display in supplier's currency. You can view number of suppliers in the grid.